cash.
How's it going, Ryan?
It's going good, Dev.
Right on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the support. It's
You
Ryan
have-
from Evertune.
No. This is we're actually going to change our name to Devitune.
Devertune.
Yeah.
No, it's wicked. I was trying to make a video for you guys a year ago when I got this stuff and just failed because in my defense, I have been really, really ludicrously busy. By my own hand, though, so it's hard to try and accumulate much sympathy for my own stupidity.
But it was still okay because you would send us these random emails while recording. Oh my God, this is amazing.
Well,
hey guys.
You know, it's funny because it's like I talk to folks that are aware of the bridges, but maybe haven't had the opportunity to try it. There's a lot of misconceptions about it where people think, well, you can't bend or you can't do certain things with it. But for me, I think the best way to start is just, I don't know if I'm like OCD in the clinical sense, but it's the small things that will piss me off. And tuning is not a small thing. And typically, as a singer, if things aren't resonating perfectly in tune, I have a hard time maintaining my own pitch or just getting my mind off the fact that, oh fuck, I'm out of tune, right? Yeah. So I think when I was younger, I often thought to myself, wonder if there was a way to keep guitars in tune and just never have to think about it. And when I first saw the thing, I was like, well, that's kind of weird. You know, it was like a big silver prototype they had seen.
Oh, so you saw one of the early ones?
Yeah. Oh. Because I remember hearing about it at first and thinking, well, there's that. But I was like, I don't know, man. It's like, it's not, you know. And so I didn't investigate it much further. And then all of a sudden, it came into my line of sight somewhere along the line that the company had progressed and they're making it in black and they make, you know, it's a smaller profile and a 7-string and 8-string and all these sorts of things. And so just on a whim, I contacted you guys. I think it was through Cosmo. Yeah. And he sent me an Epiphone guitar with it. And honestly, man, it's like I have put it in everything that we use live, and and this is hyperbolic. We talked about it earlier. Like you get to a point after doing this for 25 years where people give you a bunch of stuff. It's great. Not necessarily money at that point, but it's like they're giving you gear, which is wicked. Cool. But a lot of the times you run into the situation where you're endorsing things where you're just like, if I'm not going to use it, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to put my face on it necessarily because I've done that in the past, and you get said, this is the most important contribution to my live rig that I've had in years, man.
And his the new album Z2 is in tune perfectly.
Yeah, it is. Some of the parts were meant not to be.
When you're layering, in the past, did you ever find it to be a headache, like after you've tracked, you know, double tracked or quad tracked something for layering purposes, like, oh, that's out of tune? Yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny because a lot of times people refer to Evertune stuff directly when it comes to recording, and I used it for recording, of course, right? Sure. But for me, it's the live application that is way more in my trip because we played at a festival, Summer Breeze Festival in Germany just a couple months back, and ironically, it was freezing cold and raining, and typically when you get off of the plane or whatever, the wood and the neck and everything warps, and then you're in a situation where it's out of tune as a result of that. But we were on stage and it was pouring rain. It was really cold, and I went out to the front of stage and assumed rock pose 43, and it was like,
which is, I believe, this.
That's one of them. I think
that's that might be 42. I'm not sure.
But basically, it's like when I was playing the thing, it was like just as in tune as it was before, and it was freezing cold. And in any other situation, the bowing of the neck and the shaping and you know the sensitivity that the guitars have to weather would have affected that. And there's just a sense of confidence for that I just love, man. Like all this stuff, I built this pedal board, you know, recently, and it's like I like things to never move. You know, I like things to be like super consistent because I got so much shit to think about. You know, the last thing I want to do is focus on, you know, the things that are within my control to change. So, you know, the tuning is just, it's alleviated so much stress for me, man. Armando will attest to that, right?
Well, we really, really appreciate the support, man. We were elated. You had some of the early artwork for Ziltoid as your the Facebook header of the two sides coming together, and we saw the Evertune on the white guitar, and we're like, oh, that's so awesome.
Well, it's wicked, man. I mean, I think it's, you know, like the physics behind it and how they work. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the technology, essentially it's a series of springs that you put inside, and you do have to route your guitar, but it's similar as if you were putting a Floyd Rose into a guitar. And I mean, the tonal changes that you might encounter are slight, but also I find that I've adapted my playing in a real slight way. Again, it's like it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. But I guess my point with the tonal changes that you take out of the wood or whatever like this are so inconsequential to what I do that now my tone, it sounds just as good as it did before.
We get that question a lot. That's probably our number one question.
Okay.
Does it change tone? And you've had, see, this guitar was retrofitted. You had the white one that was retrofitted.
Yeah.
And then you have the new V, which we'll get to in a second.
Yeah.
That was stock with it.
Dude, I put them in my favorite guitars. That's what awesome. It is. Like I got these guitars that are, some of my favorite shit ever, and I had no questions in routing them out and putting them in there. And I think the thing is, as well, there's also some people saying, well, you can't bend with them, right? But there's the way that these work is there's 3 zones that they operate in, and by that, what it is like to experiment or to show you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So basically, at the bottom here, you've got an Allen key jack in the back that's for your intonation.
Yep.
You got one on the top here, which is for the action. And then you've got one in the saddle of the string, which is for tuning. And there's 3 zones, and basically you put the string in just as you would normally, and you string it through just as in normally, there's no clamp or anything in it. And then you tune it up in zone 1, and it moves. And then all of a sudden you'll find that it will stop moving as you're turning it. That's zone 2, and that's the zone in which you put yourself into the tuning that you're going to want to stay in.
Yep.
And then you fine tune it, and then you'll find as you keep turning, you get to where all of a sudden it goes sharp. And that's zone 3. If you're in the middle of zone 2, you can bend it, and it doesn't change the pitch. So essentially, that's good for if you're really giving her and you have a tendency to like bend the string, or you're
ultra rock.
Yeah. Or you're somebody you're just like, maybe you could just stay in zone 2. Just not that your fingers are out of tune, but
don't leave zone 2.
And you can do that while you're recording. You sort of put it into zone 2 if you want to really, have your quad tracks really line up or whatever. But what you do is you put it at the very cusp of zone 3. So you go into where it bends and then bring it back a bit, and at that point, you can bend it. And that's it, man. And it's like, and basically, I just took this guitar out of the case. I haven't tuned this thing in 3 months.
Really?
Yeah. So basically, It's like, for me, it's just so wicked, man.
And what strings are you using on your guitars?
I've been using D'Addario 10 through 52 for years, and I'm in an open tuning, which is C, G, C, G, C, E. So. There's a lot of options with it. And the other guitar that I've got, the V, if you want to actually throw me that one here, I think it's such a pig, dude. It's the best.
This is the largest, most metal V.
You might want a different stand. The wings are dragging.
Yeah. Right. Here, this year. Oh, I got to put my. You want to hold that thing?
We will cut.
The Bob Barker one, right? Hey. So basically, this one here is, this got the 7-string version of it and lasers. Because I have a small penis. But it's got a fog machine in it too, because,
a fog machine.
Why wouldn't you put a fog machine?
A 7-string V with a fog machine.
And
Are
the
you
Evertune.
serious?
Yeah, dude.
There's a fog machine
Of
in
course,
there?
yeah. So that's Evertune on there as well, and that's a 7-string version of it on it. And I've got this low string down to a G.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a really important element to my live trip.
What are you going to do for the next album? Bigger?
It's
actually going to fly?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it'll be a boat.
Floating boat.
It'll be the Z3 boat, and
Just
you're going to load the band.
You can make a paddle out of it, like a canoe paddle. Yeah, I mean, it's like,
wow.
It's an investment in terms of like routing it in and all these sorts of trips. But for what I do professionally, consistency really helps my frame of mind as a singer and as a musician. And it's the most important thing I've put into my rig, like almost ever. So thanks very much for this, dude.
Thank you.
It's really my pleasure to to pimp your stuff because it's killer.
Thank you so much for the support, man.
You're welcome. I'm holding my little Bob Barker here, man. Sweet. Pass it back to you. Hey, it's got fog machine in it.